everybody, I hope you're well. It's becoming increasingly popular these days to do a working holiday visa in Australia, and one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, what do you do when you arrive? Especially as a solo traveller, it's a really daunting thing. And so I've got the lovely Darryl here with me today, who you'll learn more about later. He's from Welcome to Travel in Melbourne, and we are going to be talking you through what exactly you need to do when you arrive in Australia on a working holiday visa. So first of all, Darryl, who are you? Why are you here? Why have I got you here?
So, although I'm placing myself as an Australian expert, I've got a very Yorkshire accent, but I have been in Australia for 8 years.
And now a permanent resident.
Now a permanent resident. I have an Australian passport. It's a great feeling. Been working in travel for 7 years, so hopefully I'll be able to give you some advice, but you'll also be able to recognise me, maybe. Maybe.
From a certain video which you will see now.
10 AM is the perfect time to clean a hostel bathroom.
Yes! Shortbread cream, aioli and ketchup. I was going to make that anyway.
Shotgun top bunk!
That viral video that you may have seen on Facebook, which is absolutely awesome. I definitely shared it.
Oh yes, and even shares likes and views. No, that video went crazy, a lot better than what we were expecting. So.
Yeah, so Darryl knows loads about Australia, and I haven't done my working holiday visa for a good few years, so it'll be really nice to get a fresh perspective on all the information and things, like, you know, an updated version of what you do when you arrive in Australia. Okay, so the first thing you're going to be wondering, where do I fly into when you're doing a working holiday visa? There are so many options. Obviously Australia is absolutely humongous, so where would you suggest?
Well, there's so many like international airports in Australia. So like Perth is obviously one over on the west coast. You've got Sydney as well, which is probably the most popular. Well, it is the most popular.
It is the most popular.
By far. And Cairns as well, at the top of the east coast as well. Some people who fly in from Asia do start off in Darwin, but not so popular if you're flying directly from Europe.
I would not suggest going straight to Darwin.
No, it's very hot, isn't it?
It's very hot and not much going on there.
Yeah.
So we'll rule that one out.
Yeah, get that one out. Adelaide's a little bit smaller again, and that's if you're coming from Asia. I live in Melbourne. I love Melbourne. You'll find out all the way through this video how much I love Melbourne. So I would say Melbourne.
You would say Melbourne. I would say Sydney or Cairns personally, but ultimately it doesn't massively matter. No. Do you think?
No, the only reason why I would say Melbourne as a destination to start off is, so if you look at it geographically, Melbourne is like at the bottom of the country. So, and if you head west from Melbourne, you've got the Great Ocean Road, the outback, and if you head east, which inevitably you're going to hit Sydney, which is like the most popular destination, and then you go and do the East Coast. Whereas if you start off with Sydney and just do the East Coast, you're going to miss out Melbourne, which is like the most popular.
No, you're actually really right, and I've never actually considered that. I guess it depends on what you want to do first as well, though. Yeah. If you want to travel first, but we'll talk a bit more about that. So once you figured out where you're going to fly into, obviously Darryl reckons Melbourne. I'd say Melbourne. I'd say Melbourne over Sydney now because of what you just said, or Cairns, because you can do the same thing. Yeah,
exactly.
And travel down.
It just depends on like the time of year as well, because you don't like, it's quite cold in Melbourne. Like
I wouldn't want to go into Melbourne in winter. Yeah. Because I'd be like, I mean, it's Australia, it's supposed to be hot, but you'd be like, oh. Yeah. But if you're going to Cairns, in there, remember Australia has different summers and winters to the Northern Hemisphere, so
flip it.
Remember to bear that in mind. I've actually spoken to people who literally didn't even take that into consideration, thought they were going to go somewhere hot and it was really cold and they were like, what's going on? So yeah, do remember that. I'd say if you are going to go in the Australian winter, to go up north to Cairns.
Yeah, it depends if you're travelling as well though, because if you start off in Cairns and heading down the east coast, you're going to be heading towards the cold. If you start off in Melbourne, you're heading towards the sun.
Yeah, okay, so just take all of this into consideration.
There's lots of options.
There is lots of options, so yeah, just consider your options, the time of year that you're going, and what you're sort of looking for, really. So once you've chosen your destination, what do you do when you arrive? What's the very first things that we need to do?
Well, you need to pick up your luggage.
You need to pick up your luggage.
And then you need to get to your hostel, obviously. I would recommend pre-booking this. A week before you like heading to Australia, like pre-book whatever you're going to be doing.
I'd say even longer than a week beforehand, especially if you're going to Sydney or Melbourne, because they get fully booked, especially in the summer months. Like they get booked weeks in advance. So I'd say as soon as you know where you're going, to book yourself into a hostel.
Yeah, exactly. So like in Sydney, especially over New Year's period, like you need to book in like 4, 5, 6 months in advance. It's crazy. And so like, and in Melbourne is very much an event city. So you got like the Australian Open, you got the Formula 1 Grand Prix and stuff like that. Again, you need like a longer lead time.
What hostels would you recommend in Melbourne if you go into there?
In Melbourne, YHA. YHA is like such a well-established brand, like throughout like the UK, like worldwide.
And also, thank you to YHA for letting us use your hostel dorm room in London. We're actually in Earls Court at the moment because we thought it would be really cool to be in a hostel setting for this video. So
there's 2 YHAs in Melbourne, so YHA Central, one in North Melbourne. Either one of those 2 are going to be great. You've also got Space Hotel, which has like got beautiful rooftop views over the city. You've even got like a hot tub in the rooftop.
Very nice, very nice.
And a gym.
That's not a hostel, is it? That's a hotel.
United is very central. Like it's opposite Flinders Street Station, which is like bang middle of Melbourne.
Sydney, I'd say either Bounce, Wake Up, or Base Backpackers. I think it's nice to book yourself into one of the nicer hostels when you first arrive, just because of course at some point on your trip you're going to go for a really cheap one just because you want to save money, but I think it's just really nice to be somewhere nice and you can just feel a bit more at home in your first week in Australia, and you're not having to worry if anyone's going to steal your stuff or if the showers are just going to be gross because it's a really cheap hostel or whatever. Like you kind of want to be like, okay, just spend a little bit more just so you know it's going to be nice and you're going to get treated well.
But then also like up in Cairns as well, Cairns have got like so many hostels. I think like the epicentre of Cairns is, have you heard of Gilligan's?
Oh, I've stayed at Gilligan's many a time.
Oh, don't get me on about Gilligan's. But like that is like, it's almost like a backpacking mecca. It's amazing, it's so beautiful. And
it's a brilliant hostel as well. Like it is a party hostel, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. But get into your hostel and there are like, as we said, airport shuttles. So make sure that they take you directly to your hostel.
But you can often book your airport shuttle through the hostel, can't you?
Yeah.
So try and do that if you can. If not, then there are shuttles at the airport, like there's like a shuttle area, isn't there? And you tell them where you're going, and then you're normally with a bunch of other people, but it's cheaper than getting a taxi. That's probably the best option when you arrive into the country. You could try getting a bus or public transport, but it might just be a little bit more difficult. So to ease your mind, I'd probably recommend the airport shuttle. How long do you think people should book their initial hostel for, and how much can they expect that to cost?
So I would recommend a week-long stay because for the first couple of days, you're going to be jet lagged. Where pretty much wherever you're flying from,
you're just going to be tired. And try and fight that, but you are going to be jet lagged.
And whenever you get to a new place, you really want to explore it as well. Like whichever city you're in, you really want to make sure that you've got your bearings and you've made the most of that city.
And just get used to being in Australia. Just little simple things like knowing your way around the supermarkets and just not that they're very different from other Western countries, but just like little things like that and just kind of getting accustomed to being in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. And then also because you are starting off on a working holiday visa, you'll need like a couple of days for like your admin. Like to get it set up for your time in Australia
in a second.
For the full year.
Hostels in Australia, I think for a nice one, you can expect to pay about $30, would you say? 20 to 30?
Well for nicer ones, I'll side of like 30 to 35.
Okay, and it's about double or 1.8, isn't it? So that translates to about £20.
Yeah, about £20.
15 to £20 is per night is what you can expect to pay for a fairly decent hostel. So in your first week, oh god, now I've got to do maths. For 7 days,
£140.
about £140 is how much you should budget just for your accommodation.
Generally, if you book a week as well, you can sometimes get weekly rates as well, so it might make it a little bit cheaper.
Definitely worth to explore because it is good to spend a week in your first destination for sure. So obviously, like we said, in that first week, you've got to sort out quite a few admin things that are going to set you up for being in Australia for a year. So what have we got to take into consideration?
So we're on a working holiday visa. You need money to go into an Australian bank account. There's so many Australian banks out there. The ones which I would choose to go with are either Commonwealth.
Yeah, I was a Commonwealth, I really like it.
Yeah, they're pretty much in every major city and all the smaller towns. There'll be ATMs like pretty much everywhere. You've got Westpac as well, which is like a major bank. You've got NAB as well. You've also got ING, which is great for like online.
Okay.
But apart from that, yeah, you pretty much want an Australian bank account.
You need an Australian bank account if you're going to get a job in Australia. I mean, cash in hand work is illegal, try and remember that. And also to get a job, you're going to need a tax file number. This is something that you can literally just apply for online. Just type in Australian tax file number into Google and you will see the form. That's free, but you will need it before you get a job. So that's something really quick that you can do in your first week.
Yeah.
And because that gets sent to you, doesn't it? And
yeah,
so,
it gets sent to like the hostel which you're going to be staying at because you need an Australian address.
So that's really something that you want to do literally in the first couple of days because you need to give it time to arrive into your hostel that you're still going to be staying at within that week.
And so if you don't have that as well, you're going to be paying a higher tax rate until you've got that tax file number like available to you. So yeah, pretty much do that as soon as you can. And when you are like setting up a tax file number, if you're doing it all yourself online, make sure like it ends up, the domain should end in .gov.au rather than somebody trying to like add on like £50 like for them to do it for you.
Yeah. When you really don't need to.
No, some people like struggle with it and they need like that helping hand, but you can quite easily do it yourself online.
In fact, I will put all the links below of all the specific stuff that you need to use. So if you are in Australia right now and you're like, what do I do? Just click on the links below and that should help you out. And what did you say about superannuation?
Yeah, so superannuation is almost like the Australian pension fund. So every employer, if you make over $450 a month, which is pretty like, you should be making about $1,000, $2,000 a month, they need to pay 9.5% of your wage into this other account. Yeah,
I'm glad you're here.
So hypothetically, say if you got paid $1,000 per month.
Yeah.
That employer, you'll get that $1,000, but your employer would have to pay an extra $95 into a separate account, which is almost like your pension fund.
Oh, wow.
And so this is money which you're making without you even realising.
Without you even realising.
And then when
you need to set that up before.
So basically, when you like sign up with an employer, they'll go, you can either go onto our superannuation or you should have your own superannuation.
Okay.
But if you have several different employers, which you will do.
Which you will do because you can only work for the same company for a maximum of 6 months. And if you're there for a year, you're going to be working for more than one company.
Exactly. And so what you want is your own superannuation.
Okay.
And so whenever you go to a new employer, they'll be paying that fund into yours.
Perfect.
If you have separate ones, then it gets rolled over and rolled over and rolled over,
Okay.
and then you start to lose money.
So is that something you can apply for online as well for?
Yeah, so you can either do it online or you can, your banks generally when they try and set up your bank account, try and do that, but they're not necessarily the best ones for you. Because there's very specific ones for like when you're backpacking. And hopefully I'll be able to give you a link down below as well. Oh, before you go to Australia, make sure your phone is unlocked.
Oh my god, yes.
Like,
please do that.
It's such a nightmare when you're trying to come and like, no, I'm in Australia. No, this is costing me.
Do you know what's funny is that I've given this tip before on my channel and my initial phone was unlocked, but what I forgot is that I actually got a new phone last year and I didn't unlock it, and so my most recent trip to Australia, my phone was not unlocked.
Well, you should practice what you preach.
I should practice what I preach. Yeah, no, like genuinely remember to do that because it's something that kind of seems a bit like, oh yeah, but like, yeah, no, do it.
Yeah, that should be on your to-do list before you even go to Australia.
Yes.
So, and when you get there, again, there's a few like major companies. Optus, I'm with Optus at the moment. There's also Telstra.
Yeah.
There are other ones as well. Like, so being from England, you'll see Vodafone as well.
I was with Vodafone, but I wouldn't have necessarily recommended
No,
that one.
so like when I was traveling with Vodafone, hardly ever got a signal.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
right.
okay, come on. And because you recognise it, because like when you're from the UK,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh, I'm going to go with Vodafone.
Yeah.
I'd probably opt to go with either Optus.
Opt for Optus.
Opt for Optus.
Hopefully that'll help you remember.
That'll be slogan for him one day.
Yeah.
Or for Telstra? No, doesn't work.
No.
But either Optus or Telstra.
Yeah, brilliant. And another thing that you're going to want to do in your first week is apply for a Medicare card. This is another thing that you can do online, and it's essentially like signing yourself up for the Australian NHS. So you can go to the doctor, hopefully, for free. But Medicare is not available to everyone, is it?
No, and when you say sign up online, you do like part of it online, and then you need to go to a centre.
Oh, okay.
And you need to like bring everything with you, like passport, your visa, everything. And yeah, this is available for people from the countries Belgium, Finland, Italy, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Ireland,
Slovenia, Sweden,
and the UK.
But if you're from the US, you can't.
No.
Or any other country in the world, you can't.
Yeah, pretty much those are the ones.
So sorry, guys. And what do they have to do if they can't get Medicare?
So that's reciprocal healthcare for these countries, but just make sure your insurance covers you for any
Travel insurance.
Yeah,
Yes.
always travel insurance.
Always travel insurance, whichever your preferred provider is, your preferred insurance. But there is a company called World Nomads, which I quite like.
Yeah, I like World Nomads as well.
So they do specific backpacker insurance, and it's insurance that you can extend as you go if you need to. So not all insurance does that, and they don't allow you to extend. Like, let's say you've decided you want to stay a bit longer in Australia, they won't.
No, I had such a nightmare trying to get like my second year visa insurance.
Yeah.
Because I had like 1 year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need the insurance again just in case.
Yeah.
But no, World Nomads is like a great company.
Yeah, but Medicare, and we'll link that down below, but then, like Darryl said, you'll have to go into a centre as well, all within your first week. You're going to have a busy first week, because also, if you plan on working in a bar or construction, what do you need to get?
So if you're working in a bar, you need to get an RSA, which means Responsible Service of Alcohol. Now this is different for each single state in Australia as well.
Wow.
So like Melbourne is in Victoria, Sydney's New South Wales, Cairns in Queensland, Darwin, Northern Territory, Adelaide, South Australia, Perth, Western Australia.
Look at you!
Hobart, Tasmania, and Canberra, the Australian Capital Territory.
Hey!
Yeah, so every single place, that's embarrassing. Every single place, you need to get like a different RSA course. So if you feel settled in that location and go, okay, I want to work here, then do your RSA course like in that city where you are.
So you would have to do another one if you ended up moving. Okay, that's it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so say for example you started off in Cairns, you were like, I'm not too sure, but I'm doing my RSA, but then like travel down to Melbourne, you'll need to do another RSA course.
Okay.
And that's around $60 each time that you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So try and think carefully
Try and think carefully.
about where you're going to work.
And also for a white card. White card is, I believe, national. And this is for construction work.
So if you want to work in construction, you need a white card.
Yeah.
And how do you get a white card?
Oh yeah, again, online courses as well, and I have a link as well.
And another link in the description.
Yeah,
That's going to be a busy description box.
And also, when you are at that destination, you want to be ticking off that Australian bucket list.
In that first week.
In that first week. So whether you want to see kangaroos, koalas, like learn how to surf, we're going to tie it all into like the first like 7-8 days for like when you first land in Australia.
It's going to give you a good taste for the country, and also make the most of you being in that specific place that you're in. Wherever you are, if it's Melbourne, Sydney, Cairns, like something that's specifically good to do in that area, definitely get it done in that first week, because not only is it fun, but you're ticking things off your bucket list from the start, and so it's just a really good way to start your trip, isn't it?
Exactly. Like especially like if you're learning how to surf, you like all of a sudden you like may have like a certain feeling like, oh, I want to be a surf instructor now. Yeah. And then you go, okay, I know I can go and do this. Yeah. Or if you work if you had like real good fun with wildlife, or might work in a conservation park or something like that. If you get like an early taster, it will like set you up for the rest of your year in Australia.
Yeah, so you're going to have a very busy first week when you arrive in Australia, but it's going to be really, really fun, and it's definitely something to look forward to, and you're going to make lots of friends. What's your biggest tip for making friends?
Remind yourself that the person who you're about to have a conversation with is in exactly the same boat as you are.
That's a very good tip.
So always be open to a conversation and never say no to beers. I would say.
I wasn't expecting you to say that, but it's true, yeah, sure.
Never say no to opportunities. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Never say no to opportunities. / beers.
That's all within your first week. Don't worry so much about making friends, because you are going to be busy doing all of these things. That it's not. I don't think it's really going to be crossing your mind when you're there, because it's just going to happen naturally. Like when you make yourself busy, you're going to be attractive to other people as well, because people will be like, oh, look at them being productive. I want to make friends with them. I've made other videos on how to make friends whilst backpacking and stuff, so I'll link that up here and down below for you. So that's your first week, and obviously there's a lot to do. You're going to be very, very, very busy.
It's so overwhelming when you first go to like a new country, a new destination. So much so that like myself, I've like started up this company called Welcome to Travel, which sorts out everything for you, like from all the admin help to like the airport shuttle, the accommodation, but also ticking off those bucket list items. So we go down to like Mornington Peninsula, go to like some of the best beaches in the world. We go like wine tasting. I know you like a wine.
I do like a wine.
She loves a wine. And you'll actually be sat on a beach. I know this may sound bizarre because you think of Australia, but you'll be sat on a beach and be over 500 penguins.
Is that Penguin Island or Stewart Island?
Or Phillip Island.
Phillip Island. So
close. Learning how to surf, and seeing kangaroos, koalas, all this within like a small group as well. So it's easy to make friends.
Easy to meet people straight away.
Yeah, and everything, and it's like this is why I wanted to help people, because I know how overwhelming it is when you first come travelling. Especially
if you've never travelled solo before.
Yeah.
And you just kind of want to ease yourself into it without just arriving in a country and being like, oh my god.
Yeah. And it's so good because like you see people on the first day of a trip and they're like, oh my god, like they're like shy school kid. And at the end of the week, because we go on a bar call, they're like, everyone's like, friends in groups, and we're like, you see them like go and like live together because we help them out with short-term accommodation. Some people go even working together because we've got an employment database, so it makes it easier for them to get a job as well. And all this is like covered in like 8 days, and everything is organised for you.
Brilliant. So I'll link the Welcome to Travel website down below so you can have a look, and because it's not just that tour that you do as well.
You've got like an 8-day tour and a 4-day tour as well.
Yeah, so I'll link that down below and you can go check them out. So after that first week, then what? You're like, I've still got this whole year in Australia. So one of the options, or there's a few options. One is that you go travelling, and obviously, like you said, if you're in Melbourne, you can go up the east coast, you can go along the Great Ocean Road. There's so much of Australia to travel, but obviously just make sure you've got that money in the bank if you're gonna decide to go travelling first. Yeah,
budgeting is probably the hardest thing when you come to like Australia, because it is an expensive country. So just make sure don't after that first week go, I want to go travelling with all my friends if you've only got like £500 in the bank. Make sure that you can save some money.
Well, if you get checked at immigration on entering Australia, which is definitely not impossible, it's not likely, but it's definitely a possibility that you get checked. They actually check the amount of money in your bank account, and the requirement is that you must have 5,000 Aussie dollars, which is about £2,500 to £3,000. If you do have that much, which you should, that's enough to travel the East Coast.
Yeah, by far.
And how much time would you recommend to if you want to do your travelling first?
Yeah, every journey is different, but like going from Melbourne to Cairns or vice versa, I would say like 6 to 8 weeks. Depending, like some people want to do dive courses, some people want to go skydiving, but like your bread and butter are like your Fraser Island trips, which are like 3 days, 2 nights. Your Whitsundays trips, which you need to do 2 days, 2 nights. So these like so beautiful like destinations.
I'd say 6 to 8 weeks is a really good amount of time, because people do it in 2 to 3 weeks, and it's possible, but you're probably going to miss out a lot of stuff, and you're probably going to get a little bit disappointed when you want to leave places before you want to. So yeah, I would agree with you with the 6 to 8 weeks, especially when you're there for the whole year. And another perk of traveling first is that you can see which places you like, and then if you really connect with somewhere, that's where you can search for a job.
Exactly.
So that's a really good reason to travel first. However, if you are a bit concerned about your money, or you want to make some money first, or you want to work first, then you've got to explore your job options. So I would suggest, if you are just looking for temp work, to go to all the agencies in the city that you're in and get some temp work and whatnot. But other than that, just have your CV on a memory stick or a USB or emailed, and then you have that available to send to loads of businesses. So do have that ready. And
also make sure when you get to Australia, you're going to get that Australian number, and make sure you put your Australian phone number on.
On your CV.
Yeah, because there's so many times when I used to employ people where I'll see that as an English number, I'll be like, well, I'm not calling an English number.
Yeah.
They should have put their Australian number on.
Yeah.
Also, just simple things, make sure your details are correct, and make sure your references know that they're references.
Yeah.
You don't want
if they just call someone out of the blue.
We sacked them 6 weeks ago because they decided to go travelling early.
Let your previous employers know that you've put them down as references.
Yeah, and expect that job search to be around 4 weeks maximum.
Right.
With the recruitment agencies which help us on Welcome to Travel, we try and reduce that time, rather than it being 4 weeks, we close it down to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so then you're going, okay, that's 2 weeks saved, and then you go and get earning a bit more earlier.
Yeah. What I would personally suggest, just from my bad experiences with my regional work, is to do your regional work first.
Yeah.
Because if you've been following my channel, you might know that I had very bad experience, and I didn't even manage to finish my regional work because I didn't have enough time. It's a long story, and I'll link a video down below which explains it. But I personally think it's a good idea to get your regional work done and dusted, out the way. By the way, your regional work is what allows you to get your second year working holiday visa. So it is essential if you know you're going to want to do another year in Australia, and it's 3 months, normally working on a farm or somewhere rural.
But also, for people on a 417 visa, so it's people mainly from the UK, construction work. You can be working in construction in a town.
Do girls do construction work?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
What kind? I just can't imagine this.
Concrete and just on those big machines where they just roll it down.
I can't imagine myself doing something like that.
Well, there's a town an hour away from Melbourne, and then you can be working in construction. Yeah. Saving up quite a lot of money.
That's quite good, isn't it? Yeah, you do get paid well in those jobs.
Yeah. Also, what's great if you're on a 462, so this is people mainly from America. If you start in Melbourne and you go travelling up, you can now extend to get a second year visa by working in hospitality and tourism. So you can literally be working in a bar in Cairns, it has to be above the Tropic of Capricorn. That's the only thing. It needs to be in the
that's interesting.
Yeah,
so that's if you're on the 462.
Yeah.
Which is if you're from the US.
US, Argentina, Spain, and lots of different
So there are
ones.
perks of having that over not having Medicare.
Yes.
Yeah. Pros and cons to each visa, right? Don't feel like you're hard done by if you have one or the other.
Yeah. If you are doing your farm work right at the start, so say for example you had 2 months of travelling because you've done your week, and then there's 6 to 8 weeks, and then you go and do your farm work, which is 3 months, so that takes you to 5 months. Then you go travelling again for a month because you've got all this extra money, and then you go back to the place which you love and you want to settle down and put down some roots.
Yeah.
You can go to that city or town, and you've got 6 months, but also in your back pocket you've got your second year visa because you're doing your farm work, and then you become a lot more employable, and then you can work in the field that you really want to do.
It's making me inspired, and I can't even do it because I've done my work and holiday visa already. I'm like, yes. But if there's one big tip that we can give you for what to do when you first arrive in Australia for your working holiday visa, don't stay in your hostel forever. It's so many people fall into this trap. They arrive, they start partying, and they extend their 1 week in Melbourne, Sydney to 2 weeks, to 3 weeks, and they spend all their budget partying. And yes, they have a great time, but ultimately that's a massive regret because
I've not seen anything.
Yeah, you haven't seen anything, you haven't done anything, you've wasted your money and your time, and ultimately that's not what you want to be doing. So be productive in that first week, get things done, do things, and go out partying, but remember that you have a whole year of partying.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it all in that first week. So if it means you sacrifice one night out because you've got a meeting in the morning at the bank, I would definitely prioritise something like that. Don't be one of those people that just stays in your hostel for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, Darryl, for coming on my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So we'll definitely link Welcome to Travel down below, as well as YHA. Thanks again for having us in your lovely hostel. And if you are travelling around the UK, definitely YHA are my go-to hostel. They're always so clean, so friendly, really good. So yes, thank you YHA again. Good luck and have fun if you are about to go to Australia on your first working holiday visa. You are literally going to have the time of your life, and yeah, even if it is your first time going solo, same for so many other people. Literally, like it's normal to be nervous, it's normal to be apprehensive, and so try not to worry about it. Try just to see it as a challenge to overcome, and try and turn that nervousness into excitement, and you're going to have the best time ever.
Thank you again for having me.
Yeah,
and
no
I'll
worries.
see you guys in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Or anywhere in Australia.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.